Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I rise today in the word that the gentleman from the 14th raised some questions I just wanted to address head on. As we talk to Georgians that are listening to this debate, I just want to say there is no political advantage to doing this. There's no political gain by acting on this issue. There's no electoral advantage. There's no fun that anybody in this chamber gains in taking on these hard issues. But the issue that's been raised by the senator from the 50th, the powerful impact that sports have in the lives of young women has been felt by my family and by many others. You know, the fact that there's 9 times as many young women competing in varsity sports at the high school level than there were in 1972 when Title IX was passed has had a major impact on the lives of young women. And the question I ask today before we address a couple things raised by the senator from the 14th is, does any senator in this chamber dispute that there is an unfair biological, physical advantage to people born as biological males in the competition of sports? There's been a lot of discussion around issues and the messages that we're sending and these issues of erasing people metaphorically from our culture. But does anyone here in this chamber dispute there's not an unfair biological advantage? I think everybody listening to this today recognizes there is, and that's why our governing bodies around the world, not just in Georgia, governing bodies that stand no political gain from this because they're not political organizations, but simply govern sport fairly, have overwhelmingly acted in a way that's consistent with Senate Bill 1. So if you're a Georgian watching the debate today, set aside these innuendos and these subtexts about the politics of meaning and what all this means. This is about a very basic thing. The young women who dedicate themselves to sport are bettered and molded by it should be able to compete in a fair environment. Anyone who's listening today who yourself is in the category that's referred to as trans, whatever the term is that you would use to, if you've gone through this process of transitioning from one gender to another, if you're listening to this debate, there's no attack by anybody in this chamber on you. As the discussions happen in our committee, you're cared for by members, you're cared for and valued by our state, and nothing we do to protect the value of women's sports should be misinterpreted or twisted or bent by the words of those in the minority party to suggest otherwise. We're simply trying to provide a fair shot for young women in sports. This bill inflames social conflicts, as the senator from the 14th says. This only happens to the extent it's brought on by the minority party. This wasn't brought on by those who are protecting girls' sports. It's brought on by those who try to impose biological males with a clear physical advantage into girls' sports and then blindly suggest there's no problem. That's what inflames this. That's what's unfair. The majority did not call for this fight. The majority did not ask to do this bill. If we had simply been operating in a way that recognized the clear biological differences, that respects people who've gone through the process of living a trans lifestyle or making biological transition, if we left them alone to their peaceful enjoyment of life without trying to impose biological males in sport, we would not be having this debate. This debate was brought by those that would impose this issue on a culture that had come so far over the generations in advancing women in girls' sports. So it's disappointing to me to hear these sidebar issues. No one is being devalued in this debate. What we're doing in this debate is we're valuing young women in the impact that sports has on them. Let's not call it anything else. Let's recognize common sense. Let's come together and support Senate Bill 1.
Thank you, Senator.